guess, selfish I actually was. Just in the fact that why I did things that I did, a lot of it was, and I'm sure most of you can relate, a lot of it is directly, I do it because that's how it directly affects me. It's what I have to do to get through the day. You know, I want to go to the gym because it makes me feel good, and I want to take a nap. I want to take a nap but then once I became a father, all of that I guess focus got shifted, and now I do it because I want to stay healthy for my child, and I get up early and go to work because I want to be able to provide for my child. It's all of a sudden the world that you thought was yours is not yours anymore. It's theirs.
How's it feel to be a dad? Yes, for those of you who don't know, my wife gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl almost 3 months ago. And it is crazy. It's great. This is actually the first weekend that I have not been with her, so I'm a little sad, but I'm happy to be here with you guys, so it's okay. But yeah, you know, she's doing great, and it's crazy. Her name is Justice J, and
it just sounds better than Injustice.
You know what's funny is our pediatrician was like, well, he's like, allow me to be the first to say, now there's no justice in this world.
He's like, I don't want to be the first to say that.
Danielle really liked Justice, and she picked Jay because that's people call me Jay. You know, whenever I don't know, it's kind of a nickname. But, like whenever I go to Starbucks or something, they're like, "Can I get your name?" I just say Jay, and it's always J. Well, I write it on the cup. So we just decided to use that. Then we can call her JJ. Her name's JJ. Thank you very much. Thank you.
How did you choose Ackles? How did you choose the name Ackles?
Well, funny story.
My wife sent me 2 pictures. This was maybe 3 days ago. They're in Los Angeles right now, and I was on set working. And it was, it was actually the premiere. It was Tuesday, and there's the shot. There's a shot of JJ sitting, or not. She's standing underneath the TV, and when she took the picture, it said Supernatural across the TV. And JJ's pointing at it. Then the very next picture, is a close-up of my head in the TV, and she's doing this. And my wife just put underneath there and said, she's asking you to pick her up. That one hurt. That one hurt.
Whenever I leave, just like this morning, about an hour ago, and I was saying goodbye to JJ, she always, and I don't know where she got it from, but every time I say goodbye to her, she says, "Watch out for the rocks." I have no idea what that means or where she got it, but now I've started saying it back to her. So now we say, "Watch out for the rocks," and then we do the same, which is something that my wife and I have always done, which is we just touch fingers, which is kind of a little "I love you." And so she's now started just, you know, when I say, "Hey man, I love you," she'll put her finger out and I'll just touch her.
Yeah, it's funny. We happened to have gotten to spend some time with our family yesterday, and we were letting the kids run around, and they are a little young. I'm looking forward to when I can actually go do something like flying a kite with my daughter, because right now it would just be me flying a kite.
You sit there,
which could be cool. Playing catch with one of his boys. And when we get to that point where playing with them is fun for both of us, right now it's just herding cats and making sure they don't run into the street. I'm looking forward to that kind of interaction that we'll get to have. Right now, one of the things that I really enjoy doing with my daughter is sitting and watching a movie. Now, granted, it's not a movie that I would probably sit down and watch by myself.
Oh, yes, you would.
I don't know, Despicable Me is kind of fun. But just 2 days ago, I was actually watching that movie with her, and we were laying on the bed, and she was, as we were just laying there, she kept getting closer and closer and closer to my head, and then after a few minutes, she was literally just cradling my head, and like our heads were together, and my wife walked in, and she's like, "What is happening?" I'm like, "I don't know, but don't just leave it alone, because this is awesome."
I had a moment the other day. I was carrying JJ. She fell asleep on the couch, and so I picked her up and I was carrying her upstairs to put her to bed. And she kind of stirred and kind of woke up in my arms as I was walking up the stairs. And she just looked up at me with like sleepy eyes. She goes, "You're so strong, Daddy." And I was like, That's a good moment. That was a good moment for me.
There's a moment, and this is, without getting too sentimental, but when I found out that my wife was pregnant, and then we found out it was going to be a girl, the picture that in my head that I immediately thought of was me walking through the door and her running to me with her arms open. All right. And as some of you know, that doesn't happen for quite some time. It has just now recently started happening. So, I would relive those moments that I'm having now in my life. If I could just keep those lasting forever, which, hey, hopefully she always loves me that much and can run to me. So, hopefully.
So yes, somebody sent me one, and it was a picture of a young dad in the bathroom, and he was putting his little daughter's hair in her ponytail, and the caption read, "Guns don't kill people, dads what pretty little girls do." And I just thought to myself, yep. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of things that have the potential to make me fearful for her, or just raising a daughter in today's society, raising anybody in today's society. I mean, look at Paris. Like, this is really, really scary. It's not as, the world's not as safe as we like to think it is. And so that scares me, is not being able to protect her from anything that could hurt or harm her. But at the end of the day, I gotta trust that, that it will be okay, and believe that the society that we live in will help facilitate and nurture a big human being. So, yeah.
2 days ago, I took JJ. It was just her and I. Danielle was off doing woman things, getting her hair done, her nails, or whatever they do. And so I took JJ and we went to this little farm here where they've got like goats, and it's kind of a petting zoo and stuff. And the weather was bad, so there was nobody there. And it was just the two of us. And the lady was like, "Yeah, you guys go on in. You got the whole place to yourself." So we went out. We were feeding the ducks and feeding the roosters, and we were chasing some chickens, and then with the rabbits and the guinea pigs. Then they had this big thing with little goats. And I'm like, "Oh, this is cool. You can walk right in and hang out in the goat pen." So I walk in.
Things you don't often say out loud.
So I walk in, I let JJ go. She's just running around and like pushing on the goats, and I'm like, "Oh, that's really good." I'm taking pictures with my phone, and then I look over, and two goats are kind of squared off to each other, and then they just go boom, and like not one knocks the other one totally like off its feet. And I'm like, "And we're leaving. Let's go." I just had visions of her just getting pummeled, like that Stride commercial, like with a ram. That's all I saw was just JJ going like over them, like, "Yeah, okay, we're going back to the bunnies."
And I came to the door, and JJ came kind of like waddling up to me, and I was like, "Hey," I picked her up, and I started like bouncing, and she had just been fed. So full bottle puke all over my face. I mean, direct hit. Like, she sunk my battleship. It was full on, and
I just held it. I was like, help! And so my wife comes running in, and she's like, oh my gosh, don't move. Thinking like she's gonna, get me a towel because it's dripping. No, she ran to the other room to get her camera.
Tom is already trying to woo his future father-in-law. I was joking. I'm like, listen, JJ has a choice of a younger tablet or an older tablet. Choices are good. Yeah, they're pretty fun.
I got a call from my wife. JJ's sick too, and I think it's probably because they were hanging out together last week. So somebody somewhere got sick. But anyway, she was. I got a call from Danielle, and she's like, I'm stuck in traffic, and she just threw up all over herself. I've had to hand her wet wipes, and she's now having to clean it off of herself. Mind you, she's like 20 months old, so it's like she barely says dad. And she's now having to clean the puke off her chest. And I'm like, that's my girl. I'm like, how much did she have to drink last night? It sounds like daddy.
JJ's awesome. She's, a little over 2.5. We were in Austin. We were out at this property, and I was there with JJ. There was like a playground, and it was a big oak tree, and they had like the ladder, like where you hammer the 2x4s and make a ladder onto a tree. And where it splits, the big slide goes down the other side. So there were a few kids running around. And JJ was like, do you want to go get the slide? And I was like, all right, we had to climb up the tree. And it was almost like maybe 8 feet before we had to crawl over the split the tree and then head down the slide. So it was a little dicey. So I stood by while she was climbing, and I was standing right there in case she slipped or fell or something. And then she was kind of taking over because it was a little uneven, so she was kind of taking her time getting up there. And this girl walks up, about the same size as JJ. She walks up and she's like, I can climb it faster than that.
The girl was never heard from again?
So I go, is that right? How old are you? She goes, I'm 4. I'm like, oh. And I looked around. I go, well, she's only 2.5. When she turns 4, she'll be able to climb it faster than you.
And at first, JJ was kind of resistant of the very colorful characters that were there. And after I was challenged to hit a guy in the face with a tomato. So I'll paint the scene real quick. JJ was busy. She had like a fairy who was talking to her, so she finally asked Danielle to put her princess dress on. So now she was in her princess dress, and she was starting to kind of come around the whole idea. And then they walk up and look at Danielle, and I'm like, so apparently I had to throw tomatoes at this guy's face, and he's yelling. He's just so JJ's like, what's happening, Daddy? And I'm like, Daddy's gonna try to hit this man in the face with a tomato. I didn't even waste time with her. I just, whoa! And it hit him and like split his eye and knocked him out of the hole. Oh, I was proud. And I was even more proud when I turned to JJ and she was like, yeah, Daddy!
Where we would have our Game of Thrones night, my daughter she's like, you gonna watch Game of Thrones? Yes, we're watching. She's like, I can't watch that. No, you can't. So she would sleep on the couch facing away from the TV. And she would not look at it for fear of like seeing something that she wasn't supposed to see. Yeah, we got trained well.
By the way, every word I know.
Wait, do you really?
Hey,
I have a
easy,
three-year-old.
easy.
I have a 3-year-old daughter. She wants to watch Punzel.
Is that what's coming up for me?
Yeah. Enjoy. Yeah. Can I watch Punzel? God damn it.
So you just hear my voice all the time.
I know. JJ does. She's almost 2, so she used to sit there and listen to me sing her songs. Now she does not. It's like, oh, Daddy's playing the guitar. That's great. Toys. So maybe in the future she'll start listening to me again, but right now no. She would rather either play with toys or watch cartoons or chase me. That's our new thing. We do this chasing thing where, and of course I have to like run like a clown to get her attention. It looks like this. So I'll look at her across the room and I'll go, and I'll start slowly backing away and her face just lights up and she's like, oh, it's on. And then I'll just do what, I'm not kidding, I can do this. And I'm good for about like 2 or 3 laps, and then I'm like, Daddy needs a second. But she just screams at the top of her lungs, and it's like, it's chase daddy time. But what ends up stopping it generally is my big dog, Oscar. He thinks it's time to play chase too. So now I have this 70-pound dog running and leaping, and when you've got a little 2-year-old trying to chase you, the two of those things don't mix very well because they're both hyper and out of control. But Oscar thinks it's fun to chase and then grab with teeth. So I generally have to tackle him and put him down, and then JJ just jumps on both of us. And that's my life when I go home.
Usually it's whatever the song that my daughter is making me listen to the most, which kind of changes frequently, but whatever song that she asks me to dance to, which happens all the time. She's like, Daddy, play the song, let's dance. And I'll be like, this one? No, this is the old one, the new one. I'm like, I don't know what's the new song? So I have to, it constantly changes, but it's what it represents.
Daniel sent me a video yesterday, and it was JJ sitting in our living room, curled up in a chair with our bigger dog, Oscar. And he was, I don't even know how that, we're talking like a 70-pound dog who was just curled up on her, and she was kind of laying on him, just kind of rubbing his face. And she was listening. There was like Daniel, I guess, had put on some old jazz record on our record player. And so she's listening to jazz, she's petting the dog, sitting in this like leather chair, and she had a crayon, and she was doing this.
Well, she's almost 3 now. It's time for her to start.
So I quickly called Danielle and where did she learn that? And she told me her favorite movie right now is the old Chipmunks movie from like the 90s or something. 80s. Maybe it might have been the 80s. You remember where they fly around the world with balloons? Yeah. Jerry knows it. In that movie, there's the Cruella de Vil. Yeah, like a Cruella de Vil type character. She's like a little dog, and she just the whole time she's like got one of those long cigarettes. So I guess that's where she learned it. But it's just my 2.5 or almost 3-year-old sitting there in a club chair, listening to jazz music and pretending to smoke a cigarette. Great.
We haven't discussed
this is my life.
However,
we haven't discussed the slightly more disturbing part, that of all the female characters in that movie, that's the one she's trying to imitate. They're like all the little chipmunk girls.
Oh no, she does the whole, she'll sing the whole song and she'll do the whole dance move, and I'm like, she, I don't know, never mind.
She learned from watching Daddy.
Yeah. So, I feel like I'm playing with my daughter now, it's like, and then she'll just do this. That's the majority, that's the biggest reaction I get is, and I try to scare the crap out of her. And I'll just be like, I'll sneak up and I'll be like, ah! She's almost one and she just does, That's weird because I'm like, she's gonna make the best date at a horror movie because the guy is gonna scream and she's gonna be like, you're an idiot. Which is strange because as long as it's not Tom she's going on a date with. Or Shep.
You took mine, it was potty training. But I'll come up with another one. I am excited I want to teach her sports. Any kind. That'd be cool. I might have to teach his son some sports too. I don't know. I already told Tom I'd teach him golf after I taught his father. No, there's it is exciting to have kids. I actually had JJ up to set when I was directing, and there's a really cool picture of her actually working the camera. Granted, to her it was just a big giant piece of metal. And they caused a moment right before she broke the camera, which was not. Yeah.
I have a very sweet story. So our kids go to the same preschool. And Tom is a year older than JJ. So I guess there was some time where the 2-year-olds and the 3-year-olds, or 3 and 4, however old they were at the time, they were all playing in the playground at the same time. Like classes go, it's like, hey, this class goes to the playground. They come in these 2 classes. And Jaybird's class and Tom's class ended up in the playground at the same time. And Tom and JJ are friends. And so JJ started to play with Tom as opposed to in her class. And I think one of the kids in Tom's class was like, you can't play with us, you're little. And so she got really sad and started crying and walked away. And so Tom just went and played with her and left his class.
I've now taught her to just throw a left hook. It's not a story, but yesterday? No, 2 days ago. Yes, 2 days ago I was driving, I was taking JJ to gymnastics class. And it's Friday. And she asked if Tom and Shep were going to be there. I'm like, no, honey, this is gymnastics class. I'm not going to school. And I'm like, do you miss Tom and Shep? She's like, yeah, and Quiet, who another one of our friends has a little boy named Wyatt, and she calls him Quiet. And I'm like, do you like Tom and Sheppy and Quiet? And she's like, yeah, they're my boys.
They were together and they were outside of this little play area, the 3 of them, and there was some Nerf type of toys around, and Sheppy had picked one up, and somebody came up, an older kid came up and ripped it away from Sheppy, and he didn't like that very much. And so JJ came over and ripped it out of that kid's hands. And then the kid ripped it, and the kid was a couple years older than JJ. He ripped it out of her hands, and I'm watching him like this is gonna. And then before I can even get up and get over there, JJ just goes, boom! And then I think Tom came in and was about to start kicking it. I'm like, no! It was like a 2.5 to 3-year-old game fight. JJ refers to Tom and Shep as her boys. So boys. They all have matching tattoos. It's a skull and crossbones.
Yeah, little did we know that was actually an initiation.
JJ had her first boxing match. She was, we were at this little kid discovery center, and there was this kind of outdoor area with Nerf things and balls and a bunch of kids. Yeah, there was a bunch of kids in there, and his boys were there. He was not there. You were running your way over or something like that. But so I was watching the kids, and this other kid who was probably three and a half or so, a little older than JJ and Shep. He walks over and he kind of pushes Shep aside, and then I see JJ just kind of clock him. But it is a gang mentality with these kids. And then he looks at JJ, kind of sizes her up, and then goes and reaches for the ball that she was holding, and just immediately JJ just goes. Just starts rolling, runs so fast. And I immediately jump up and I'm like, work the jab! And then the kids started throwing back, and it was like they just full on, like were lefts and rights. And of course, I quickly swooped in and grabbed her, and the other kid's dad swooped in and grabbed him. And I didn't even make eye contact with the dad. It was just like, hey, no. And I sat JJ down real quick, and I was like, hey, would you not? But I'm proud of you. Around, walked back, started playing. The kid was crying for like 20 minutes.
That's because every time the other parent looked away, Jensen would look at the kid and be like,
In your experiences as a dad, have ever, in having to change diapers or anything, like just...
He didn't change diapers.
Like, just struck a superhero pose and gone, for justice!
I wish that I could have done something that cool while changing the diapers, but I'm generally either trying to hold down my breakfast, or I'm humming some Disney tune to quiet her and calm her down, because I'm fairly certain that Disney's found some sort of there's some sort of a pitch or subliminal, it's a tranquilizer, essentially, for my child. But our pediatrician, when we first, the very first time that the pediatrician came, he was in the hospital during the delivery thing, so he comes over and he does his little, inspection, and he turns to me and he goes, well, finally there's a little justice in the world.
And then he goes, boom!
And I think he did this. And from then on, I was like, well, I'm never going to top that, so I'm never going to. But hey,
that would be your superhero catchphrase. It would be for justice.
For justice. We call her JJ, so it's actually still weird for somebody to be like, oh, hi, Justice. I'm like, who are we talking to? But that's JJ.
Thank you, guys.
I'm gonna do that now, just so you know. Once I get that final strap on, I'm gonna be like, for justice.
You need to do it at a restaurant. Be like, my wife will have a Diet Coke, I'll have a beer, and we'll have a water for justice.
And we're throwing around trying to figure out names, and I actually threw a suggestion name at my daughter, JJ, who is 3, and I said, how about, and I said the name, and she just looked at me, she goes, how about now? Not a word of a lie. I didn't know how to respond to that. There was like pride and then like heartbreak all of a sudden.
The Mother's Day festivities start tonight.
Well, Danilo is not with me here. Jen is here with Jared. So I left a card from me, a card from our daughter, and a card from our dogs.
And I took JJ's hand and actually made her sign her name. Stop it! I actually did her thing now. I'm gonna grab something and she wants to, you know, if I'm trying to take something away, instead of saying stop, she says, go away! That's what I say to you. Go away! Maybe she got it from Uncle Jared. Get out of here.
I'll give you a small one. This is new. So, JJ's a toddler, and we're now starting to implement the timeout rule.
On Jensen, not on JJ.
We're new. And the other day, she was doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing, and I go, JJ. Is that me? And she's like, and she turns and looks at me, and she's like that total guilty look, and I'm like, do you need to go to timeout? And she goes, okay. And walks over and just walks out. I'm like, I wasn't going to send you, but no. It's like she enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, joke's on me. Okay. I see how this is going to go. 1 point for you. Dad 0. So that's I have to look forward to now.
JJ's kind of like a nice mix of Tom and Shep, because you can be like, hey, stop. And she'll just do this. So there's awareness there, and then you're like, you want to go to timeout? And she just looks at me, she's like, okay. Well, you don't get to now. Keep doing what you're doing. Finish breaking mom's name, whatever that is. Buy a new one. Yeah. At this stage, it's getting more difficult. She'll be 3 in May, and it's getting more difficult to be away from her. So that's she's starting to understand the I miss you, Dad.
She plays him off fiddle.
And I mean, like, when I see her, she just sits there and like holds my face, and she's like, oh, Daddy, I love you. I'm like, whatever you need, kid. It's all yours. Yeah, your pony? Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to not be such a pushover. Yeah.
I would recreate Baby. So that A, we get to spend as much time in the car as possible, and B, Daddy can watch, JJ can watch her daddy kick some ass.
I would say, more importantly, I think what fills me with pride is when my little girl is scared of something, and I show her that it's not necessary to be scared, and which makes me face my fears sometimes, because one of them, I'm not a big fan of spiders. And she isn't either. So she comes running into the living room, and I'm sitting there, and she's like, Daddy, a spider. And I'm like, great.
Daniel, spider.
Yeah. So I immediately pick her up, walk her in there, and it's a big, it was a big spider, and I was like, look, it's fine, it's not gonna hurt you, it's right there, look, we'll get it together. And I went and I got some tissue, and I just was like, but it was after I sat her down and talked, I was like, look, it's okay, just come and tell Daddy, you don't have to be scared, I'll get it for you. And then I picked it up with the Kleenex. Had she not been there, I would have just crushed it. I picked it up with it, walked it outside, and let it go in the grass. And it turned around and ran right back in. So showing her that she doesn't need to be afraid.